What's going on, everyone? Happy Thursday to everyone. Hopefully, everyone is staying healthy and safe in the extreme weather because we do have the Canadian wildfire smoke that has re entered the picture. It first re entered the picture earlier in the week, and now today it has really spread to more places. And in fact, it's worse than we were expecting that it would be. Let's take a look here at the latest satellite picture, and you can see on the satellite picture. Uh, Underneath these clouds, you can see this smog type stuff. That is the wildfire smoke. And it's even showing up here in upstate New York. It's underneath these clouds in Chicago. It's in Ohio, New York City, Philadelphia. I mean, I live here in Philadelphia. I looked outside. You can't even see a clear sky today. Originally, we were supposed to have a nice day here today. If it wasn't for the wildfire smoke, we would have finally caught a break and got a nice day, but unfortunately, it is not a nice day because the wildfire smoke, I mean, you can smell it in the air, and the air quality across portions of the Great Lakes into the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic, it is very poor at this time. Let me refresh this so we get the latest numbers here, and you can see here, you have these oranges, you have the yellows. Anything in yellow that's starting to get close to moderate orange is bad. Then you come up here to these reds and purples, which have spread oh so far, all the way from Wisconsin through Chicago and Illinois. Indianapolis, you have the reds. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, look at this. There's just loaded with purple there. Washington's loaded with purple. Philadelphia is loaded with purple. I mean, this is really bad, folks. You do not want to be breathing this air in. If you have to go outside today, I know you probably don't want to hear this. It wouldn't be a bad idea to wear a respirator on your face just because it's really dangerous. And breathing this in for a long period of time is like smoking multiple cigarettes, which is also not good for you. Then we have the other picture, which is ongoing, and let's just jump right to the European model. I wanted to show this before we get to the rest of the story for today, and that is the temperatures that are ongoing in the south. We can reverse. And look, you see, it's been day after day of extreme heat in the south. And now we come to today, and today's another day. Temperatures are going to be in the upper 90s. Heat indexes will be well into the 100s, maybe above 110. And we have already seen some places that have seen heat index values as high as 120, such as New Orleans, which is really bad. Take a look at Friday. Much of Louisiana is expected to be at or over 100 degrees on Friday. This is extremely dangerous. You want to drink a lot of water and stay hydrated if you are in these areas. Continuing this, I mean, it continues right into the holiday weekend. And you can see here, look at Georgia, 100, stay here, there. Florida, 100s. Florida usually does get hot in the summertime, but even 100 showing up in Florida, you can see it here near Tallahassee. That is extreme. And the heat index, it's going to be high as well. And you get a slight break on Monday, but watch what happens as we head into the end of this. Yes, it does start to, eventually it will build again late next week. Back to the temperatures in a little bit. We also want to take a look at this. Here is the latest picture across the country for hazards. There's a lot of hazards going on. All these gray areas are air quality alerts. Down here in the south, you do have heat advisories, heat warnings, and that continues. The advisories and warnings go all the way even up into southern Illinois, Kentucky, portions of Missouri. Then you come to the west coast, and you have excessive heat watches that are up now because you're going to see heat as well in portions of California, portions of Arizona. I mean, this is a really dangerous time, folks. And one last thing, going back to the wildfire smoke, I do want to show you the latest RAP model. Here's what it is projecting. It's projecting that the bad air quality is going to continue into places like Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., New York City. It will continue right in through tomorrow. Tomorrow is not going to be a whole lot better. And unfortunately, look at this. It does not totally clear out. While it does get better over the weekend, it never fully clears out. And maybe Boston, on up into Vermont and New Hampshire, some of this may come into you over the weekend. because there's nothing really to fully clear the air. And look at these red spots up here in Canada. That's where the fires are, and it shows here on the model. This is only a model, and I highly stress computer modeling for wildfire smoke is not the best. And so we have to be ready for rapid changes. We could see where over the weekend, all of a sudden, the smoke hangs on. We just have to watch. This is not going to be the last episode of this we deal with this summer because, look here, these red spots. That's where the wildfires are. The wildfires are ongoing. They're not going to be put out anytime soon, so this issue could come back to haunt us later in the summer. Alright, moving on now with the other picture. We do have a couple of mesoscale convective systems going on this morning. We have one that's going into Kentucky right now. We have another one that's in Iowa and Missouri about to go into Illinois. Because of that, there is an enhanced risk of severe weather for today in these areas. Let's take a look at that. And you can see here, there is a small tornado threat. There's also a tornado threat in Colorado today as well. Not terribly concerned about that. Here's your wind threat. We do have a hatched 30% area, which means significant wind damage is possible from portions of Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, and even into portions of Indiana. Then you also have a hail threat as well. The biggest wild card for today is, as you saw, let's go back to radar real quickly, there's this second MCS. If that MCS goes a little bit more southwest and it hangs on, it would gain some strength, and that could potentially be a factor that would extend the enhanced risk maybe a little bit more south. We'll have to watch what happens, because one wild card is that wildfire smoke, which is at play, that can add extra energy into the atmosphere, and that could be more fuel for these mesoscale convective systems to keep on going. Alright, let's continue on here. Taking a look at the excessive rainfall, there is a slight risk of excessive rainfall across portions of the enhanced risk severe thunderstorm area. Then there's a marginal risk that goes all the way back into portions of Montana and Wyoming and western Nebraska. You do have a slight risk today of excessive rainfall. Then we go into tomorrow, and there's a widespread marginal risk that spreads from the plains all the way into Pennsylvania. Day 3, we do have a slight risk across portions of the Midwest, and that continues down to Kentucky. And then there's a marginal risk that continues into the Northeast, because on day 3 there is also going to be another risk of severe weather in this area. And let's take a look at that. You can see day 2, another chance of an MCS down across Kentucky and even Tennessee and Illinois. And day 3 you have a bigger slight risk. Look at this. There's another chance for an MCS, but you also are going to have the chance of some heavier shower and thunderstorm activity across portions of Pennsylvania. I know they're not showing it, but I think this will eventually get spread a little bit further north, though the bigger threat is going to be potential for flash flooding. Let's quickly take a look at the tropics. Not much going on. We do have this 20% area of formation over the next 7 days that will pass east of Bermuda. We're not terribly concerned about that at this time. As you can see, it is very disorganized. Taking a look at the HRRR model for today. There goes the first MCS across Kentucky. Here's the second one, and that really gets going. It really gets energized. Then it kind of weakens, but you notice here, there's a little portion of it that keeps going in Tennessee. So that's something we'll have to watch. Then comes tomorrow. Another MCS is going to get going from convection that will already be ongoing in the plains. That's going to come over to Illinois, and eventually that will get energized. That will make its way into the southeast, and then as we come into Saturday, look at this. Perhaps another potential MCS, which is over Illinois. Not certain what that's going to do. It's too far out in time. We're dealing with convective situations, which can be very tricky. Let's take a look at the NAM model. The NAM for today has the first and second MCS. It also has somewhat of an MCS for tomorrow. It's very weak in trying to show it. Then watch what happens on Saturday. It's the day 3 time frame, which I was telling you about. You can see some shower and thunderstorm activity gets going in the northeast, and you can see it does blossom up over Pennsylvania. Yet again, there's going to be another flash flood threat. And look at this. We have another potential MCS. It's just a parade of these. It's called the Ring of Fire. This one would go across the Ohio Valley and into the Mid-Atlantic. And I want to show you something else here. This is what I want to show you. Here is the NAM 500 millibar. And what I want to show you is here's the Ring of Fire. You can see the ridge axis. It goes up, it goes through the plains, it goes across the Midwest, then it drops into the southeast. That's the projected path for these mesoscale convective systems. And it's just going to continue riding along that. See these areas of energy? That's what generates these. And eventually this ridge is going to try and get more northeast, but you also have this upper level system up here that is going to affect the northeast. That's going to squash the ridge somewhat. That's also why the first part of next week you're going to get a little bit of a break. It's still going to be very hot in the south, but it's not going to be to the extreme level you're seeing today or tomorrow. And the northeast, you're going to feel effects from this upper level system for a couple days. And look at the end of the NAM. Yikes, there's just a little bit of a trough in northwest. Normally, we would welcome a trough at this time of the year because that would be good news. It would mean, hey, nice refreshing air would come in. Not the case. That could mean more wildfire problems and also this upper level system in the northeast. We'll have to watch that as well because you have fires ongoing in eastern Canada. So there's a lot that we have to watch here. Let's take a look at the longer range on the GFS, and we can see on the GFS into the weekend and into next week, it does have unsettled weather. And unfortunately for 4th of July, you can see there's quite a few places here that deal with showers and thunderstorms on 4th of July. New York City, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, potential showers and thunderstorms. The Northern Plains, showers and thunderstorms. Louisiana, potentially showers and thunderstorms. Look at this. I now advanced it into 0C, which would be about fireworks time. And there's a lot of unsettled places now showing up on the GFS. So it's something we're going to have to watch. Hopefully this can trend better, but right now we are definitely watching some stormy situations for many. The good news is if you're out on the West Coast, it's going to be relatively quiet for you, but it is going to be hot in places like California. As we advance this further into the holiday week next week, you can see unsettled conditions continue for many areas, and late next week GFS is showing this system over the Great Lakes, which is a relatively large system that could provide some strong to significant severe weather, maybe a flash flooding threat. Again, it's way out there. Let's focus on this weekend and the holiday, 4th of July holiday, first. Let's go back to the temperatures. Taking a look at the longer range for the temperatures as we go beyond the next weekend or into the weekend. You can see the Northeast, temperatures are not going to be that bad this weekend. You're looking like New England. Highs are going to be in the 70s. Sunday is going to be a really nice day in the Northeast, but the wild card is, does the wildfire smoke suddenly come into play again? We'll have to watch. It could. Places like Maine and New Hampshire, you haven't really seen it yet, but down the line, that could come in play. Down the south and the west coast, very hot. Pacific Northwest, look at this. Seattle, Washington, just 60s. In the northern plains, it does start to get hot. Highs near or above 90. Heat indexes will be in the mid to upper 90s. It is going to really start to heat up for you, but it's going to be short-lived. As you can see here, as we head into 4th of July, the extreme northern plains are not bad. Look at Wyoming and Montana. Yes, those are highs in the 60s and even 50s. I'm not buying this upper 40s, but maybe in higher elevations that does happen. The central plains, as we get to Tuesday, look at this. It already heats back up again. And then eventually, you do catch a little bit of that break that I was telling you about at the end, at least in the southeast. Texas, you remain in a heat bubble. The northeast, look at this. Not too bad as we head into the following weekend. All right, it is a Thursday. Let's take a look at the Drought Watch. You can see here, the west coast, not doing too bad. The southeast, not doing too bad. I thought we would have gotten a little bit better in the mid-Atlantic from all this unsettled weather that we've had, but there are still some drought concerns, so it is what it is. I mean, some places did not see the heavier rainfall amounts, while other places did. It was not totally uniform or widespread, which is why you still do see some drought concerns. You also see some drought concerns in the plains and the Midwest. That's going to be ongoing. Texas is going to get a lot worse because of the extreme heat. I'm really concerned that these reds that you see here, it's going to expand across much of Texas as we head into the middle part of summer. And again, Florida, look at this. There's just this little bit on the west coast of Florida, drought concern, and that is it. All right, let's look at the Climate Prediction Center. But first, here's days 1 through 7. Rainfall amounts, and you can see from the plains through the mid-Atlantic into the northeast, you do have an axis where there is some shower and thunderstorm activity expected. Just south of Chicago, you have this big axis where there is going to be heavy rainfall, and that's because of the mesoscale convective systems. You're going to get hit again and again and again, and there will be some flash flooding concerns in this area. Taking a look now at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook for the Climate Prediction Center, you can see well above average across much of the east, except for near Atlanta and Birmingham. You're going to see near normal temperatures, well below average in the northern plains. I showed you in Wyoming and Montana where it's going to be really almost downright chilly for parts of next week with highs in the 50s. And you can see here, the Pacific Northwest, above average. Texas, we expect you to stay above average. 8 to 14 days above average in Texas, above average in Florida, near normal in between in the Carolinas, Tennessee, Kentucky, slightly above average in the Northeast, continuing to be below average in the Rockies and the Plains, above average in the Northwest, below average for portions of California. Then we come over here to the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook, and you can see there is going to be a large area of above average precipitation. This might be slightly overdone in Texas. Four Corners region below average in places like Oregon and Washington, slightly above average in the Northeast, and finally 8 to 14 day above average precipitation in the east. And where the Ring of Fire is currently ongoing, it's going to continue above average. You could see continued mesoscale convective activity. The West Coast, generally below average, with exceptions to places like San Francisco where it'll be slightly above average. Alrighty folks, that does it for today's climate update. If you are in the path of the wildfire smoke, stay safe, especially up in Canada. I know it's terribly dangerous for you. If you're in the southeast, limit your time outdoors today. It is just dangerously hot. Keep cool in the air conditioning, and you really should limit your time outdoors if you're in those wildfire smoke areas as well. If you're in the path of the mesoscale convective systems today, a heed to all warnings. If you get a tornado warning or severe thunderstorm warning, please take it seriously. These could be life-threatening, dangerous storms today. Alrighty folks, that does it for today's update. We'll have another update again in the near future. Look for shorts in between updates and follow me on my Twitter account at Climate Data Report. Take care everyone. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to my channel down below. I'll see you all again next time. Have a great day.